YouTube got a big one today. As usual, bunch of Rolex, bunch of AP, some Cartier, some Pateks, and a very special watch that Marco will talk about. And mystery watch. The brand is on here, so I'm not showing it to you, so stay tuned. It's been a while since we got a bigger shipment in. Back to the usual, a lot of Rolex this time, and yes, contrary to all belief, we're still buying them and they're still selling and they're still the #1 selling brand. Dip in the market or not dip in the market, it all coincides. Marco?
126? I don't know.
Get out of there, I'm out. Alex? 126621. And you know the best part about it is I can't really even check this shit. But this is a two-tone Yachtmaster. Thoughts?
No, the Yachtmaster I think is a great design because it's a lot slimmer in profile. I think a lot more elegant. In two-tone, it kind of matches the elegant case aesthetic because it is a slightly thinner profile than the Submariner. In two-tone, it makes it a little more dressy, which I think this watch is. It's like a dressier Submariner.
So I think this is a watch that's always gotten no love. The original Yachtmaster models. I mean, when the 2 came out, the 2 gets a lot of love. The steel, the two-tone, the yellow gold. But I'm waiting for it to come out in full rose gold. I think that will be a banger. Certainly a nice alternative, and it sits well on the wrist too. It's comfortable watch.
I've never even thought of it that way, but that's actually a good, shout out to Roman, that's actually a good call.
I'm right here. You don't have to shout me out. This, Marco, what this is really a test. I'm giving you all the good ones. The reference number?
126484RVR, I think. I actually tried to source this one, so I think I remember it off the top of my head.
I do like this. It's a 36mm Datejust. It's got a beautiful diamond bezel and the diamond markers at 6 at 9 o'clock, which makes it a very, very just pretty ladies watch.
Classy touch.
It's a large ladies watch. We'll leave it at that because this is also a men's size. If you think about it, 36mm is a men's size. Yeah. It's what Alex wears. Platinum Day Date. Shout out to Alex. On the Chopping Block, and I'm not going to ask you for reference numbers. We have a two-tone Sky Dweller. The two-tone Sky Dweller, it's still one of the later releases, I should say, that I'm still on the fence. I don't know if it's the Jubilee bracelet that gets me on a two-tone. I don't know if it's the black and rose combo. Again, one of those watches that I just don't know. Your thoughts?
No, I love it. On Jubilee, I think it wears a lot better, in my opinion, because Jubilee, it kind of makes it a lot more comfortable to wear, at least for me personally. And Jubilee downturns a little bit better. So even for somebody with a smaller wrist like myself.
Well, it downturns completely.
Right. So it actually fits my wrist versus the Oyster, which actually just doesn't fit me at all.
So with a lighter bracelet.
I feel it's a lot better. It's more comfortable.
You don't think it's more top heavy with a lighter bracelet?
No, actually.
You think it's the opposite?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Next we have a medium iced frappuccino.
So these were hanging around that low 20s mark, like right under 20. Now you're gonna find them in like the 17 to 18 range.
Maybe it's the fact that they were one of the later releases that were closer to the dip. They didn't get a chance to get that momentum going. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but again, they're still double list.
Even though Rolex makes 1 million watches a year, they've only been making that reference.
1,050,000 now here. All right, well, I got to pull out a Marco watch. This is one of the watches they came back from service. I actually ended up buying 2 of these, so we have 2 of them. So this is original overseas chrono, the first generation. Again, looks-wise, not much has changed, you can arguably say, from the new ones to the older ones. The newer ones, a little bit, the bracelet construction is a little bit better, it feels a little bit tighter. It's not quite the difference between like an old Submariner from the 80s to the current Submariner. It's actually the difference in tightness and just overall construction, I would call it, is not that great. Like if you look at a sub from the 80s or the 90s versus the sub today, it's like a huge difference in terms of construction. With Vacherons, it's not so much. What happened from this model to the current?
So current is in-house movement. These, I believe, use a JLC-based movement.
Of course they do.
And I actually like this a lot because it has a 12 o'clock date, which I think is a lot cleaner than in for example, the modern ones, which have a 4:30 date.
I think it's a lot more readable. First of all, the window is bigger.
Yeah, it's a double disc date, yeah.
So it's a double disc date. You can look at it up here, and all it is like, you have certain date wheels, which is just one wheel that goes around. It's a lot easier to implement, and those are the ones that usually end up at 4 o'clock, by the way.
Right.
So the single date wheel is the one wheel that goes around the watch, where up here you have 2 discs that change, you know, one disc that's 0 to 3, and Anna was here. Anna's been haunting me with this quorum, with this little lady's quorum forever and ever. Thank you, Anna. Anna's not in the room, is she? Santos, PVD. Now, with the newer models, what I personally like is what they did with the bracelet, where the bracelet at the top sort of reminisces, the strap, I should say, on the top, sort of reminisces that bracelet, but then it is indeed a rubber strap, but you kind of get that bracelet look at the top, that ribbed look. Give me another watch that did that.
I actually don't know. Not at the time.
So, Panerai?
Yes.
They did that.
Yeah,
Panerai did that at the top of the strap.
Although they're not really known for their bracelets, to be fair.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Their bracelets are horrible. You said about.
Actually,
Sam's.
even UN will do sometimes ribbed rubber straps too.
What I think is actually the more practical are the rubber straps that are done where on the inside of the strap you sort of have like like a hump that goes on the inside, which allows air to get through. So as your wrist is sweating, especially on the rubber strap, it doesn't get all. Because on a regular rubber strap, if it's a hot sunny day and you like to wear your watches tight, like my watch is, this is a rubber strap, but I wear it loose, right? This is very taped up. Ladies, Royal Oak, very 7mm rose gold with a diamond bezel. This is AP's way of saying, I can't really get too creative with ladies' pieces, and when I do, they don't really sell well, so we're gonna take a Royal Oak, we're gonna put some diamonds on it, do a precious metal, and charge it on the leg. Alex, what the f are you laughing at? Alex, what's the market on these now?
Honestly, I don't even know. I rarely sell these ladies' pieces.
Exactly. You don't really see as many of them out there. Two reasons. Number one, obviously they don't make as many ladies' watches as they do men's watches, and number two, ladies don't sell their stuff. Marco, gray dial.
15500 gray, love the monochromatic look. These trade actually, I would say roughly around the same price as the silver dial. Yeah, so I would say like probably it goes blue in terms of price, then black, then I'd say probably gray and silver. But honestly, this is probably one of my favorite colorways just because on wrist, it's just one kind of singular color, all kind of men's
Well,
together.
that goes back to what I always say
that.
about gold Rolexes. Like to me, a gold Rolex should be yellow gold with a champagne dial or a yellow dial, right?
Yeah.
When we're talking about a day date, right? Which is why I almost wish they make Yachtmaster 2 with a champagne dial, all gold, yellow gold.
Yeah.
Like that just, look, it's supposed to be, it's no secret Rolex is a flex, right? First money watch, blah, 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 blah. So if you're gonna go with a gold watch, I kind of like the blended look. And this stainless steel, the dial almost blends in with the stainless steel. So I'm gonna agree with that. Code 1159. First year they come out 2,600 pieces.
Which they make 40,000 watches.
So they make 40,000, so 5% of production, not so bad. The way the Code 1159 would have been successful if the following year or the year after they didn't make more. What they ended up doing is they ended up making more because they fell into that good old, okay, you want to get a Royal Oak Chrono, you want to get a hot piece, you want history with the brand, start buying other things such as the Code 1159. The plain automatic to me with the rose and the stainless steel plus the strap I absolutely love on this, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful watch.
They've also upgraded big time from, for example, the first series model, right? These have the new kind of vignette, fume, gradient dial that kind of AP has been going towards. And then they also kind of played around, now that they have the Royal Oak mid case, I love the hollowed out lugs as well, not to mention that curved crystal, which has an insane effect with that dial. I think there's so many little nuanced details that are lost in just like a wrist shot or a picture that you see online. I mean, you're getting a watch from Audemars Piguet, Holy Trinity watch, with a Royal Oak mid case. So kind of cool quirk in my opinion.
Another ladies Royal Oak, and this is going to be, well, I shouldn't say this is your entry level Royal Oak. For ladies, this is the 33mm stainless steel without the diamond bezel. I think the original entry level Royal Oak was 33mm quartz on a strap. And guess what? These things are still going strong because it's a lot easier actually to sell a 33mm due to its size. A 37mm Royal Oak, especially considering the constructions of the Royal Oaks with the integrated lugs, it becomes a big watch on a wrist. And if a lady has a small wrist, like me, it's a 33mm fits perfectly and it still feels big on the wrist, believe it or not.
Right, because a 33 will probably wear closer to 35, 36mm.
Exactly.
And then in that range, you're kind of in the unisex territory anyway.
Oh, Marco, look what it is.
15202.
All right, so talk about 15202s. I mean, originally made for the 40th anniversary,
Correct,
right?
Yep, released in 2012.
So we're talking about this being now
a decade old.
A decade old.
Yeah.
And here's the interesting part about these is because they made them for so long, although arguably still one of the most collectible Royal Oaks out there.
Easily.
In terms of collectability, 15300 or this.
Oh, easily the 202, right? Because that is the jumbo, you know, it's based off the original 5402 that was designed by Gerald Genta. Originally, the Royal Oak didn't have a sweep hand, so this is kind of more faithful to the original design. So generally speaking, the jumbo APs are always the most collectible in the line.
I got a Pepsi.
And I have a two-tone Daytona.
So let's talk about the Pepsi white gold, right? Was this really a necessary move from Rolex? Or was this a cash grab?
Oh, so is this steel or white gold?
White gold.
Oh, it is white gold.
It is white gold. So was this a cash grab or was this necessary?
So the thing is, this was released before the steel model though.
Yeah.
So don't forget, this is a very short production, only about 5 years. One of the shortest production modern Rolex watches. originally released in white gold, then they went to steel. When they went to steel, it kind of killed the white gold market. But when you think about it, I mean, that is the original Pepsi, right? It's the first of the bicolored ceramics, if I'm not mistaken. They did the Batman right afterwards, right? The Batman came out after the Pepsi, so this is kind of the original bicolored ceramics. You're thinking about getting a GMT in a Pepsi configuration from Rolex for about retail. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, to be honest with you.
It depends on how much the retail is.
Two-tone Daytona. I mean, I think you said it best, right? The root beer kind of raised two-tone from Rolex.
I think it raised the two-tone market overall.
I totally agree, because I mean, two-tone Daytona, to be honest, was always, you know, kind of the dog compared to the steel. Now people love it, and I love it too, because I think it's just a great look. The black with the gold can't go wrong.
What are your thoughts about them discontinuing the 41 millimeter version of this, the 36, and leaving the 31? I don't understand that move.
I mean, make it make sense to me too, because I just don't get it. I mean, listen, they must have something, you know, behind the scenes that they know better than all of us. But listen, is it a smart move? Of course it is.
Go away from the hype market when things were trading over lists, when you can actually pick up a Rolex at a discount. A lot of Rolexes at a discount, right? Look at two-tone 36 millimeter, they just diamond dial.
Right.
That was a 30% off watch, right? And with the hype, everything obviously went up. But if you go before that and you look at the trends of Rolex, the trend has always been the same. A new Rolex comes out during a normal market, be it gold, be it steel, doesn't really matter. It trades high for about the first 3 to 4 months, and then it usually dropped about 20% and sort of stabled out there. And this has always been the case. So I think that this is a good setup for, how many colorways did they do? Red, yellow, turquoise, green, blue,
and then silver and black.
Silver and black. Well, silver and black I'm not going to count. Right. Really, I shouldn't even count the blue. So really 4 loud colors. They now have the room to come out with the next 4 colors, and I think that will sell even harder than the original ones, considering how fast it is continuing.
Yeah. How about watches that are out of this world, specifically the meteorite dated, but don't...
I don't have a watch that's out of this world.
Oh.
I'm going to close it.
This one right here. What do we think? Meteorite dial, I think Rolex probably treats meteorite maybe the best out of the entire industry. I don't know. There's a way that they cut it that just shows all the veins of the meteorite.
Okay, so what's the story with them running out of meteorite, right? Because the story is that they have this one big piece that they acquired at one time, and they're continually using the same one, and they're running out of it.
Yeah, so
not that you can't get out there and go get more meteorite.
Right, you can always get, listen, meteorite's pretty ubiquitous, it's out there, you know, there's watches that are a couple $1,000s that trade with a meteorite dial, right? So Rolex isn't the only one. I think they just treat it in a way that's different from everybody else. The whole scenario behind that is they closed the ability to go to the Gibeon meteorite and source more. So now I guess there's kind of no more Gibeon meteorite, which all of these use. I mean, is it you know, is it going to be...
the amount used here, I mean, it probably still have for 100 years.
Yeah, exactly. Is it going to be like something that Rolex won't be able to make in the interim? Probably not. You know, I think they probably have more than that. So
my question to you is a meteorite Daytona or a meteorite Day-Day?
I mean, to me, honestly, right, Daytona's probably more collectible. I like the Day-Day.
I go with the Day-Day, and I'll tell you why. Yes, the Daytona is more collectible, I agree. But what I'm going with is I'm going with the Day-Day, because the Day-Day is that ultimate high-end Rolex, right? The Day-Day
is the flagship model.
It's the most expensive model. Always has been, right? So if you're gonna go dress it up and go crazy, whether it's meteorite, diamond dial, diamond bezels, whatever it might be, the ultimate one of these for me would be the same watch, but instead of a regular diamond bezel, a baguette bezel. Speaking of two-tone watches, right? The one watch that I believe put two-tone watches from Rolex and pretty much everybody else on the map, and that is the two-tone root beer. This is the one watch that did it.
But it's also just a great design. It's just a great look. I mean,
it looks good. That's the bottom line. Is that it looks good. Save the best for last, as they say, and that is, go ahead and you pronounce that.
Gronfeld.
You gotta get the in there, man. So I'm gonna let Mark unbox this because I know he's gonna geek out all over this watch. We love our independence, and you don't see these often in unboxing. Well, guess what? Because there's not a whole lot of them out there, and those that usually buy them, they don't tend to send them back out on the secondary market. They tend to keep them. So let's talk about what is it so special about seemingly a plain Jane $500 watch, kind of like the one you're wearing.
So Gronfeld themselves are 4th generation watchmakers from the Netherlands, so they're Dutch. They actually got their start at a very famous watch company called Renault & Papi. And actually, I was watching an interview with Revolution Watch a couple of years ago.
Of course you were.
And they were on it, and they said their nicknames at Renault & Papi were Tic Tac and Ding Dong, because one made minute repeaters and the other made tourbillons. So Tic Tac, Ding Dong. That's kind of the idea. But basically, they worked at arguably one of the most important and prestigious watchmaking houses and watch kind of movement houses of all time. Even for example, right, they go the extra mile. Most movements, for example, are made in brass because brass is a very easy metal to finish. All of their bridges are made in steel, which is extremely difficult to finish, right? So they'll give you like the range of finishing techniques on arguably, you know, the most difficult metal to finish it in, and they do it in designs that are very much Groenfeld.
And this is the upside and the downside to independence, is because they make so very few watches, it's very, very difficult to have a market on them.
Right.
What is this watch worth? Like people always ask me, what is this independent worth? What is that independent? There's no answer to that because there's so little of them out there. That's why when people tell me, oh my God, this is limited edition, they made 1,000 pieces, that's terrible, that's too much. And I tell them, well, a limited edition where they make 4 to 5 pieces, or even if it's a major brand, is actually worse because with that little pieces, you don't have a chance to create that market, right? In order to create a market on something, and a market is created on a secondary market,
yeah.
That's where it's created. In order to do that, you have to have enough of that stuff out there, which is why, you know, these things are gonna be trading at list plus, because good luck getting one. If
right.
you go to them and you try to order one, they're going to make you wait a long time because they don't have the production.
They actually completely close their books for the next 4 years.
Come back to horology, overlook the flex a little bit, and actually come back to actual horology, where pieces like this start to excite you. And this piece does excite me just the same. And as much as Alex loves to make fun of your watch, that's a great watch as well. And when you got excited when you bought that watch, that's when I saw him get that watch that he's been wanting to get for quite some time. He was lucky enough to have a client out there that had one. He was willing to part with it, gave it to Marco. Marco was so happy. I used to see that kind of excitement from people, and not necessarily in the watch that's super highly complicated or super highly finished, but sort of that love for horology, a love for what the watch stands for regardless of the hype. And I always say there's absolutely nothing wrong with hype. You want to wear a diamond encrusted watch or a Richard Mille or, you know, a Piguet Meteorite Rolex, that's perfectly fine as well. But do try to once in a while come back to the basic, and that's the love of horology. That's what this is about. This is what this is unboxing about. This is what we're about. So thank you all for tuning in so much. We will see you later.